All right, this is Kayla Cardio. We're going to apply our Seint 3D Cream Foundation with the B Squared, also called the Blush and Bronzer, and the Buff Brush. The Buff Brush is known for its full coverage. Our B Square is our big fluffy brush. I'm going to assume that you got it with the bronzer because it comes with it for only a couple dollars. If you didn't, you're missing out, but that's okay because this step is optional. So I'm kind of squeezing it so it fits in my bronzer. I'm going to apply that where the sun hits my face and bring it down my neck, which is a great step, especially if your chest and face are darker than your neck. So we're just going to give it a little glow on the forehead. I like to mix it with Glow Illuminator. Again, that is optional. So now I'm going to go in with the small end of my buff brush, and I'm going to use my darkest highlight color that I have. I personally use my summer color, but you can just use your main highlight shade. And I'm going to make sure that I give extra love to any spots that need extra coverage. So that's your rosacea. So if you chose the buff brush, you probably prefer a full coverage look. I also am barely going to tap that in my under eye dark circles, but you want to be very careful and press that in and not use hardly any product under eye where we have texture. Then I'm going to go into my main shade, and actually should probably use the large end of the buff brush, and we're going to do our nose. Noses need a little more coverage, around our mouth, around our chin, kind of the area where a man would have a beard. So nose, and then anywhere a man would have a beard. And then did you see that I'm kind of stippling or pressing up high where a lot of you have rosacea? So anywhere I want that extra coverage, I'm just going to stipple instead of swipe. Then I'm going to go to the other end of my buff brush, and I'm going to apply my contour. If it doesn't look crazy, you didn't use enough, right? So you really want that contrast in there. I'm going to go do that, like hug my cheekbones. It doesn't come past my pupil. And most of your forehead should be contour. So you want almost no highlight shade on your forehead. I know that's a little crazy, but that's what we want to get that dimensional look. And then I drag it under, completely under my jawline. I personally like to switch to a cooler contour for that. So under, so not up on my cheek, but under it. And I like to give myself also a little bit under my lower lip because that's going to create a shadow and make it look like my lip is actually a little bit larger than it is. So all about cheating because I can't afford any kind of lip injections. And then we just go start spreading that around. You can use the large end of the buff brush or the smaller end of the B squared brush to do that. So we're just start blending that together. We've not used our brightening shade yet, so you can kind of see I've got almost a gap where there's no coverage between my eyebrows. So we're going to come back to that, don't worry. But we're just blending until we kind of marry those colors together. I go through and I'm making sure I didn't miss any spots. And now I'm going to take my small end and go in my lighter highlight shade, my brighter one, kind of a concealer shade. We're going to go under the brows, and do you see how I lifted it up beside my eyes? I'm going to go around my upper lip, which if you actually have one, unlike me, it is a really nice effect. And then the inner corner is my eye. But really, the majority of that dark circle we got earlier. And so I think a lot of us are really tempted to like fill that area under eye with a ton of that light product. And too much product there actually causes texture, especially when the color is too light. So we want to just kind of go around and brighten around that area. Again, between our brows. Now, some of you like to take a small brush and really like outline your brows to get a lot of contrast if you're a brow person. If you wear glasses, that's really great and want to accentuate your brows. But now I'm going to take my smallest edge of my buff brush and I'm going to go back into my contour and draw two lines with my contour down the bridge of my nose. The closer together they are, the more narrow it makes your nose look. And we want to blend them down the sides, but we do want to see those from the front. So my nose is crooked, so hopefully yours isn't. Just ignore that. And then we like to bring our brightening highlight down the center of it. And it's like, oh, look, my nose is this tiny thing. It's not the monstrosity you saw earlier. No, just kidding. Okay, so we're blending. And now I'm going to go, I choose to use my finger to apply my cheek color. And I just tap it exactly where I want it. That way I can really control the placement. Obviously, blush placement is a preference, but I wanted to show you can also apply it with the small end of the B squared brush. And I just kind of tap, tap, tap so that it stays exactly where I put it. And continue to lift it up because we want a nice high cheekbone, right? That's where we want it. If you would like to come back and get that really defined contour, you can come bring your highlight shade to contrast it under your contour line and kind of make it look more snatched. I'm adding a little bit of extra bronzer at the end, so remember I put it down at the beginning. So that is an optional step, and it goes in the same places. So this has given us a nice full coverage 3D look.